What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Manny here with Yellow Tape DFS, here to give you my take on Week 8 of the NFL. Now, before we go into everything, I'd like to just say thank you to everyone that stops by the channel. I really appreciate everybody. If you can go ahead and give me a like, leave a comment, something you think, suggestions, or anything you think maybe I'm missing out on something, or you can add into it. I'm always open for any improvement. Before we go into jumping right into quarterback, I am going to go over something that's taking place this week that really didn't affect much in previous weeks. The NFL forecast, basically. Games that are going to have problems, whether it's wind, rain, and all things of that nature. For example, Tennessee and Cincinnati, they're going to have like 15-mile-an-hour sustained winds with gusts of up to 25. The Jets against Kansas City, they're going to have 10 to 15-mile-an-hour winds. That one's not too big. New England versus Buffalo, it's going to be an ugly day there. It's 20 to 25-mile-an-hour winds, temperatures in the 40s, scattered showers. That could just be all ugly. And then the three most important games as far as weather is concerned, with 25-mile-an-hour sustained winds that can go with gusts of up to 40 miles per hour for the next three games of Las Vegas and Cleveland, Minnesota and Green Bay, as well as New Orleans and Chicago. So we have to take all that type of information into consideration when roster construction as far as who we like to play for the week. All right, now going to position. Players that I do like, Mahomes, you can't ever not want to roster this guy, right? Granted, yes, he is playing against the Jets, so I'm not going to tell you that if you're playing 20 lineups to play him in all 20. I would never do that. But having some exposure to him is definitely a necessity. As you can see, sometimes when the Chiefs are going against teams that are not as competitive, they still go out and ball out. They don't really hit the brake, if have you, We have Russell Wilson against the Niners. I do see, he would probably be a popular stack with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Those guys are insane. I think it's a good stacking game on both sides of that, actually, with no weather issues. Aaron Rodgers, if you feel like the weather's not going to be an issue, he's a great guy as far as his positioning in football. But I'm probably not going to have much exposure to him. Lamar Jackson, I think this game is going to be very competitive. It's a very well-known rivalry between Pittsburgh and Baltimore. This guy's probably going to have a lot of yardage on the ground, so his floor is there. So definitely probably a good play for cash in that retrospect. GPP as well, depending on, creating your stacks is all important. Josh Allen, the guy's great. Between the information I just released to you guys pertaining to weather reports, he's probably going to act as a running back if need be, if the weather continues to be as intolerable as it seems that I've read so far. Then Herbert, I think this guy has been doing exceptionally well. I don't see a problem playing this guy. He's going to have his man Keenan Allen, who's been being a huge target monster this entire season. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. Ryan Tannehill, yeah, there were some weather conditions, but if you feel like they're not as bad as the last three games that I mentioned, so there's definitely some argument for playing him. He's obviously in a great spot going against the Bengals. Who else do I like? This guy's not being talked about at all. Jared Goff. I don't mind throwing a dart of him. They're going to go against Tua. It's an unknown variable, but I do like where some of his receivers line up in the matchup. Going down further, Joe Burrow. This he's been doing his thing. I can't really complain. I think he's a decent spot if the weather conditions are right. Once again, it does boil down to that. Cam Newton. I can see you stacking him, playing him individually. This week, he's kind of like a Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Garoppolo, great stack idea, in my opinion. Once again, Seattle's secondary has not been very well. It's kind of like saying Dallas' secondary. And Brandon Ayuk is just, I think he's going to go ham. But that's just me. All right, and then if you do want a true punt play, Sam Darnold at 4,800. That's definitely a backup price. But he is a starter, guys. He may play like a backup, but he is a starter. He does have very cheap weapons. You could pair him with any of the receivers, and it's probably cheaper than picking a Patrick Mahomes, which is one player versus two. So it is a stack option for some GPP style. I obviously would never recommend Sam Darnold in any form of cash game in my life. All right, moving over to running backs. Alvin Kamara, especially given the weather conditions, yeah, sign me up. 8,200, I don't have a problem seeing him reaching his at least a minimum of 3x. All right, Derrick Henry, same thing. Dalvin Cook, he's in a great spot. Why not? Obviously watch the questionable tag, but he was a full participant in practice, if I recall. Yep, definitely get me some of him. Kareem Hunt, please, I'll take him, and I'll take Jacobs on the opposite spectrum. Taylor, I do like against the Detroit's. They're not good against the run at all. Edwards-Helaire, if you do like him, I also do have interest in Bell. Okay, I don't have an issue with that. If you're playing any Baltimore-Pittsburgh stacks, Connor's just a decent option to have in there. I can see him ending the game with like between 18 and 20 fantasy points. Williams, sign me up. Obviously, Aaron Jones is out. Weather conditions are going to play a big factor. Running backs in this game, I think, for 6,100, where it's not a $4,000 price point, I still don't see him having an issue getting 3.5, 4x of the value. So yeah, sign me up on that guy. Giovanni Bernard, same thing. Sign me up. The guy gets plenty of target share. Mixon is out. There's not much to say. Tennessee has been giving up decent yardage against running backs. This guy's in a decent spot. Let's do it. Anything lower, I did go over Bell. If you do want a punt play, however, GPP only, obviously. Let's go through. Rex Burkhead is 4,000 flat. All right, now this kind of reminds me of a game similar to Las Vegas when where they're going to probably want to run the ball. Also, the weather conditions. I think Rex Burkhead is really sneaky, and at $4,000 is definitely worth a dart throw or two. All right, now moving along to wide receivers. Devonta Adams. I mean, regardless of the weather conditions, you have to have exposure to this guy. He's probably the best guy on the slate. All right, DK Metcalf. I actually like this guy a lot based off of matchup coverage. All right, let's see. Metcalf. He's going against Emmanuel Mosley. And you can just look here at the chart, and it just tells you that's the weakest link of the three on the secondary. Sign me up. Thomas, he's out again. I'm in a highly favored ideology, that they're going to try to trade this guy because of that locker room issue, and I think it's going to ruin Breeze. It might force him into retirement early, honestly. Thielen, he's a monster no matter what game he's in. He's always got potential to be a big play. Same thing with Lockett. Robinson got cleared from concussion protocol. He will be playing. You can always have exposure to him. He's the target share monster there. A.J. Brown, this guy's been a beast. He's proven himself to be a wide receiver run. Might as well keep running him. Diggs, I love the position he's in. If he can get down the field through the rain and not bust his butt, I think he'll be fine. I think, that's an easy touchdown in that game. Tyreek Hill against the Jets. If you're going to make a Mahomes stack, I'm sure that Hill and Kelsey are going to be your go-to guys. It's kind of that simple. Kenny Golladay, sign me up. Tyler Boyd, same difference. They're going against teams that don't have too much craziness in the backfield. Their matchups are in great spots as far as their coverage goes as well. All right, Jefferson, yeah, man. Cooper Kupp I like way better than Woods based off of the matchup and the coverage. I think Cooper Kupp's going to have a great game, to be honest, so that's kind of one of the picks that I do like more than others. Keenan Allen, target share monster, like I said. That guy's insane. Hollywood Brown, please. Like I said, I like Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I like that game. It's going to be very competitive. I think they are going to have some fighters going back and forth. And if Lamar Jackson's not doing it alone, Hollywood Brown would be one of the other two people that I would think that would get it done. All right. I mentioned Brandon Ayuk. This guy, I think, is in a smash spot against Seattle's terrible secondary. He has proved his athleticism time in and time out over and over again. Devontae Parker, if he's in, definitely play him. He is definitely the target share monster, but that was with Fitzpatrick. We don't know much pertaining to Tua. Hopefully he's up there. Landry, if you do want to have exposure, if you're not worried about weather conditions, obviously Odell is out. He is lingering with a rib injury, the same thing as Kareem Hunt. I think he's playing through a broken one at the moment, though. But his target share is going to obviously increase. All right, moving further down, I do like the position that the next 4 receivers are in. Beasley, Claypool, Davis, and Hilton. T.Y. Hilton hasn't been a major factor recently. His target share has gone down, but he is in an absolute smash spot. So if there was a game where he would go off, it would be this one, and I have to have some sort of exposure to him myself personally. But all of these guys are in great coverage spots, so I'm running all of those. AJ Green, 4,500. Have you seen this guy's target share the last couple of games? 13, 11. You have 4,500. That's just astronomically cheap. I have to have some shares of AJ Green. Moving further down, Damiere Byrd. You can have exposure to him. Same thing as Jacoby Myers. Edelman just got put on IR after that knee procedure. Man, they have to have somebody to do something outside of Cam Newton. He can't do it by himself. Same thing with other guys. Bourne is another receiver. If you want to have another game stack, and if you're trying to shy away from Kittle because of saving money, and you want to just do Ayuk and Bourne at Ayuk's 3,500. Same thing with Braxton Berrios, Jacoby Myers. These guys are really, really on the small spectrum of the price point. And let me not forget Deontay Harris. This guy, there's no Michael Thomas. This guy had 4 for 5 with a touchdown. I feel like his role is going to continue to increase. Between that, you also have Traquan Smith. All right, so these guys are definitely in play for short route passes. It's not that big of a deal. Let's move on to tight ends. George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Darren Waller, all the big hitters, they're always in play. All right, they're essentially, these guys are matchup proof. Waller, however, I think I'm going to have more shares of him out of the top 4 guys. I think my ownership will be more leaning towards this guy of my higher ownership. I'll probably have 10 to 12% of this guy's, the top 3, but probably somewhere in the 30s of my percentage of ownership for Waller. Moving down, Jared Cook, I think, is in a great spot. Robert Tonyan as well is going to be decent, especially if the weather conditions are going to be as they said. Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. Obviously, Jonnu Smith is in a smash spot as well. If you do want to pay down, obviously Bryant did get 2 touchdowns last week. I'm not saying that he's going to get 2 again. I would never predict anything like that. But for $3,200, it is definitely great savings. All right. Beyond that, it is not too much on the lower end. A punt play, maybe you can go to Griffin for the Jets. I think his role is going to be increased opposed to Herndon, where Herndon did not receive a target. He did get 3 targets last game, so that would be a decent punt play if you do have any complete punt stacks with the Jets. All right, now defense, I'm gonna leave this one up to you guys. There's a few options that are obviously available. I'll go through a couple of them. All right, the Chiefs against the Jets obviously can be great. The Chargers against Denver, we can't hold that back. I think the sneaky play, especially based on weather conditions, would be the Saints against Chicago. All right, that's me giving you guys a defensive pick. Now, like I did ask, please like, share, subscribe, do as much as you can. Help me out. I'll help you guys back. That's not a problem. If you also want, my @Twitter handle is also @YellowTapeDFS. If you go ahead and follow me on Twitter, I will be giving some live posts, and I will be putting my core cash game plays and tweeting that out live as well as we get closer to lock. But until then, I appreciate everybody. Let's get into this green. Let's get the money, and you guys have a blessed one.